Good night, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty late in the night, so I'll be brief. We'll start off with Matthew chapter 16, verses 19 to 20. Actually, I'll go to 21. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, but unto your Father and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust corrupts, and where thieves cannot break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. One person asked me where heaven is. You know, I remember people saying, if you've ever been in love, they say you're in heaven. I would say this: heaven is where love is. It's that simple. Heaven's everywhere, but a lot of times it's overlooked. So if your heart is in love, then you are in heaven. Love is a quality. It's a virtue. It goes beyond just simple emotion. Love can transform. It informs emotions, but it is a connection. That's a beautiful one. So I would suggest to you guys, most people, you know, I've been looking at a number of things on YouTube. I've talked to many people in life, people who've had a lot of money and people who don't. A lot of people think if you become financially secure, that your worries and problems will end. You know, I remember a very famous comedian talking very recently. I was watching him on The Breakfast Club. He was talking about how, you know, people think that financial security is the way, but you can't carry the financial security into the afterlife. And he said, you know, he sort of liked how the Egyptians, they tried to do so with pharaohs and mummies, but it's not possible. A man is not defined by the things he possesses. This is a wisdom that is passed on from generation. The Bible even says the same thing, but it's a wisdom that goes beyond the Bible. It's a saying that actually is derived from stuff before the Bible even existed. But that's aside from the point. The point is life and the experiences in life, whether you're an individual or otherwise, those are the things that make my life meaningful. I would say more valuable than money are people. You are more valuable than money because we know how to make money. We don't know how to duplicate you. When you're gone, there's no way to bring you back. So you're more important than money. And we know you're temporal. Or each one of us is. But money can help convenience us. It can help us to get certain things, not all the time. Sometimes you have a lot of money, but you can't get organs, or you have a lot of money, but you still have to wait in a line. You know, it gives you a certain degree of convenience. And if somebody's a racist, your money's not good to them. In other words, money affords certain comforts, but let us never forget money and financial security doesn't bring happiness. It can help, but it doesn't bring it. True happiness comes when we can be useful and of service to other people in this world. You want to taste heaven? Try loving somebody. Try it today. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go into screen share. We got a couple of things to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the progress of the release, the Snyder Cut movement in certain kinds of ways. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get into it. Remember, you can chat in the chat section. You can chat in the chat section. Okay, I talked about this already. On Facebook, in Justice League Unite, you guys, we have a running poll, and I think it's still running. So you can check out that poll. For those of you not in Justice League Unite, I invite you to join the group. We're really focused on getting the Snyder Cut. That's my focus. I ran 2 polls so far between a limited amount of groups, but I did some DC groups there. We're going to start another poll. So there will be another poll being launched on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, the 22nd, I think it'll be, we'll be launching another poll. So look out for that. Now, what was beautiful in San Diego Comic-Con, I Love Zack Snyder, from the I Love Zack Snyder t-shirts were given out by some people from the Snyder Cut movement. And here, this is a photograph with Jay Oliver being proud to be with these people. And so far, the Snyder Cut movement, I got a hiccup now, I don't know why. So far, the Snyder Cut movement has really been doing some wonderful things. It raised money for suicide victims so that people would not suicide victims, but people who have depression, to prevent them from getting suicide and getting some help. The Snyder Cut movement has not only moved with petitions, and it's beautiful, it's an admirable thing, advocating for creative freedom and creative expression for directors, that, you know, we hope that people and the studios will trust the directors once they elect them to present the movies. So we call it artistic integrity. But also the Snyder Cut movement now is also pushing for a deeper awareness of, you know, positive attributes. So it's evolving into so many other things. I mean, a lot of us were angry about Justice League, but at the end of the day, I was angry after everybody got angry. But at the end of the day, that anger dissipates, and we look for positive ways to do things. And I've always realized when you're doing something positive, it's very hard to do negative at the same time. And so it kind of refines you when you're doing something and you have a purpose. Remember, guys, the following things. I would like you guys to invite other people to sign the petition that's online. All you have to do is look for SnyderCutChange.org. Just Google that in. Let your friends Google it in. And if they haven't signed that petition, go ahead and sign it. It's free to do. There's no charge behind it. We're trying to get to 5 million signatures. And nobody go there with various accounts and do that. Just really, you need to use your name and address. Make it real, people. In addition, there is a form out there, I think, a GoFundMe or something, where you can fund people who may suffer from serious depression to prevent suicides. Okay, that's one of the things that Zack Snyder had up for people to donate to, and I would still strongly advise that you guys donate to that. In addition, the Snyder Cut movement is three-pronged. As you know, guys, snail mail. I'll give you an update on what happened with me with the snail mail in a minute. But the snail mail program towards Warner Brothers has been launched, and I advocate with all the people participating in the snail mail. Invite other people outside of yourself to also send snail mail if they want the Snyder Cut. So if that's what they want, let them act on it. It's all about being proactive, right? And what was nice, seeing these people handing out the I Love Zack Snyder t-shirts, which they purchased with their money, or they got sponsored at least, and then they gave to people in San Diego Comic-Con. A lot of people wore them, and there's a video on YouTube. You can check it out somewhere on YouTube. I don't know what the link is. I'll have to go back and check on Twitter, where it's showing that, and it's just a lot of positive energy. This is the kind of things fans need to be like. I apologize for being so negative at the time. Of course, I was just processing my emotions at the time, but I'm trying to be much more positive now, and I think some of you will really appreciate that. Let's proceed onwards, because there's a lot of good stuff I want to share with you guys. So here is, of course, the Justice League, and you know, it's interesting. I just want to make this comment right here that a lot of times people think of colorful characters as physically colorful. For instance, there's a lot of colors here, or having a lot of personality. But I would say that Zack Snyder probably has the most colorful characters. And when I say this, I'm speaking from an actor's perspective. Actors like layered characters. They like characters where there's a lot going on in them. They may be even tarnished or off grade, and that's considered colorful. And when I was writing my letter to Warner Brothers, I attached a picture to it, and actually I may show you guys the letter in a minute. It's already sealed, unfortunately. There's a picture in it in black and white. This picture, actually, I can show you what picture it was. I think I have it somewhere. Let me scroll through. Okay, yeah. I'll have, maybe I'll have it, maybe I won't. Okay, I'm trying to remember. I may have it, I may not have it. I don't know. I may have deleted it. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, this is the picture right here. But it was all in black and white. And it was in black and white because the point I was trying to make and the statement I made at the end, I finished writing my letter. I put the picture below. It was in black and white. Everything was in black and white. I was in black and white. The picture was in black and white. And the point behind it, I was saying to Warner Brothers is, Warner Brothers, the last 4 DCEU movies had colorful characters, but then the color was taken out of the characters in Justice League when parts of their story were removed and replaced with other parts which were uncharacteristic to the given superhero or character. And I wanted to make that point that you can dilute down a movie to such an extent that the interesting parts of the characters and the interesting stories that the characters are going through have been diluted down so much that they become generic and bland. I think that was the point I was trying to make. And so I had everything in black and white, and I was asking them to restore, on behalf of the fans and the characters themselves, restore the color back into these characters by releasing the Snyder Cut. So a lot of times people talk about colorful characters because they may be full of personality or because they actually look colorful. But I always feel that a comprehensive character, a character that has been detailed, that you get some depth behind, is much more colorful than a character that has a lot of personality, but the story and their story is not very deep. It's kind of like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Very colorful character in terms of behavior, but not much depth to the character. But when you look at a character like Superman in BVS and in Man of Steel, to me, that's a very rich character with a very deep-rooted background. And it's very, very rich and colorful. It's something an actor would want to play. All right, so I'm going to get into some other stuff here really quickly. Okay, so like I said before, we had the Twitter poll. Now we're going to put out another Twitter poll on Wednesday, the 22nd of this month of August. Okay, today is the 20th, but it's going into the 21st. So on the 22nd, look out for a Twitter poll. I've been trying to contact some people on Twitter. I haven't had all the time because I had to go to work. I'm doing research on something else, and I'm trying to do this. So there's 3 different things I'm trying to balance off here. But expect another poll. We got a lot of feedback on this poll, and then people talking about it and stuff, and that's great. We're going to try and do a second one, but it needs to be wider, a little bit more of a bigger sample size so that we can actually see what's really going on there. Okay, but there is, of course, the willingness to have a Snyder Cut. As I said before, don't forget to support signing the petition and getting other people to sign the petition. All right, so you guys seen this already. This was me showing you the letter. I added some additional parts to the back of the letter. I did not take a picture of that. But however, this is the front of the letter that I actually was sending, that I'm sending to Walter Hamada. But here's what happened. I didn't get to send the letter off today because I went to the post office, and the one in my neighborhood was closed indefinitely. So that was closed down. Snail mail in my country is not the norm anymore. We generally going electric. In fact, some of our bills are just completely electric. We don't even get a bill in the mail anymore. But I hope you like the design, you know. But I was trying to show here the symbolism. Again, the symbols: love, hope, justice. This, you notice I have the characters, which kind of epitomize that, but we have the symbols. And I want to show Walter Hamada this is what's important. And I'll show you what actually it says there. because I think these things mean something. So that was me earlier on. This was me later in the afternoon. I came back home with my letter. I still have to get a stamp for it, and I have to post it off tomorrow morning. So what happened was the post office was closed indefinitely in my neighborhood, so I had to go outside of it to Tunapuna. I live in Trinity. I had to go outside of there to Tunapuna. When I went there, the post office was already closed. It goes from 8 to 11 in the morning. I went there somewhere around 2, and I found out that it usually opens till 4, but because they have air conditioning problems in that building, they close early these days at 11. So I tried to get some stamps, but I didn't know what the cost of the stamps were to put on this letter, so I had to go my way. I did ask a friend of mine on Twitter, Damian Anton Vincent. Shout out to you, man, if you're still watching, if you're up. I saw him post his letter. So Damian Anton Vincent, I asked you on Twitter what it cost to send the letter, the stamps I had to get, because I could get the stamps from a pharmacy right near to the Tunapuna, what do you call it, the municipal, the court system right there, the plaza right there. I could have got, but the problem with it was when I went back, I didn't know how much it cost and how many stamps I had to get. So otherwise, I would just thrown it inside of the outside mailing thing, the red mailing thing. I would just put it outside there. It takes 2 weeks for this thing to get to its destination, so we'll be late unless I use express mail. I'll find out how much it costs to do express mail, and maybe I'll use express mail instead of ordinary mail. I don't know what it costs in all, so I'll have to find out when I go to the post office tomorrow morning. I gotta go early. But I also have an appointment with my cousin. I have to talk to her about some medical issues, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but this is it. And notice again, I said bring back color to the universe. WB and DC films are not bland and generic. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And most people said, the Justice League movie seemed generic and bland. And that was not what Zack Snyder was going to bring to the table, for sure. I also have to put your return address on your envelope. So you make sure you put your return address in your envelope generally for snail mail. I haven't used snail mail in such a long time. Anyway, guys, so I have the letter in my hand right now. Let me show you guys what it looked like. Let me come out of that there. Okay, so here's the letter, and it's in my hand right now. I don't know. I think you guys are seeing it in reverse. Oh, no, you guys are probably seeing it properly. There it is. And I'm just going to try and read off what it says there. Okay. So it has the address on top. You have justice up here. That's saying justice. Now, in the Wonder Woman side right here, I'm going to zoom right in so you guys can see it really well. All right. You guys see it says over here, right here, it's saying first it says here, it's not what, oh, sorry. It says only love can save the world. Only love can save the world. All right. And this is love here. And I put the symbol of Wonder Woman. But if you look very carefully at that symbol, besides it being a hawk or eagle that looks like it's taking flight, you will notice that it has a number of V's in there and it has an L in there. And if you look very carefully, you can actually see LOVE in that hawk. There's an E there. Can you see the E? Guys can see the E, right? If I can keep my hand still a little bit. There's an E here. Okay. There's V's everywhere. There's L's everywhere. And the O is a little bit tough to see, but it's there. It's like a square. O is like a square. That's the O right there. You see? All right. Right up here. That's the O. So LOVE is in there, all the letters for LOVE. Also, in addition, right here, it says, it's not what they deserve. It's what you believe. And I believe in love. Diana said those two things, right? Over here, hope. And remember, what I like about Zack Snyder's films is it points to the actual virtues. That's what I was telling you guys about. It says, this means something. Lewis said that to Clark, right? That's the hope part right there. I didn't put anything for justice because Batman in BVS was more of an avenging angel. And actually, the justice that he really started to become just and truly just after Superman, or Hope, which is this year, Hope inspired him to move forward. So the true justice really started happening afterwards, but justice was in there. And why I put justice, because justice is a combination of love and hope. Right? And hope. So justice is up on top there. Those are the things that fuel it. And then, you know, here, it's like in the video there, it says, bring back color to the universe. WB and DC films are not bland and generic. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And again, a bland generic film doesn't mean it's devoid of color. It just specifically means that the characters are not interesting, that the characters are superficial. But the more deeper you go into a character, the more interesting it gets. For an actor, for anyone, I think, who's an artist, they would agree with me on that. Yeah. So I wanted to share that with you guys. That's a couple little updates right there. And then, let's see. I got a couple other things to talk about in the DCEU, so let me see if I can get to it. So the course of action for the DCEU is evolving. Now, someone was suggesting to Fiona Zhang that she actually conducts a poll on her website for the Snyder Cut. She has a website called For the Snyder Cut. Fiona Zhang, by the way, is from China. Why that's so cool is to see a Chinese person interacting with the Western world. You got to understand, China has a different system to our democracies, which are republics. Like, for instance, my country, Trinidad and Tobago, is a republic. It's built off of a system very similar to the American system. We don't have, our president is more of someone who is not political, whereas our prime minister is more of a political entity, and there's parliament instead of there's parliament instead of Congress. So what the United States of America has is Congress. We call it parliament. There's a Senate. We both have senates. But then they have what is called a president. The president in the United States of America is a little bit different to the presidents of my country. But again, it's more or less the same in that the prime minister of my country is like the president. The president of my country is more like a figurehead to sort of delegate. Whereas you have states, we have counties. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we have different municipalities. Of course, America's a lot bigger, but we are also a republic. But anybody saying it's not a democracy, it's a republic, again, you don't know what you're saying. Democracies elect these elected officials. Some officials, like senators in my country, are elected by the government and then by others. But you have in the United States of America, you have congressional people being elected, and then you have senatorial people elected. So there's elections every which way. While there's delegation of responsibility, it's a democratic process to get these people there. So why this is important for people to understand is because democracy is very important for us to keep moving forward. It's now 12:04 in the morning. I need to go to sleep. I got to get some other things cooking tomorrow. But guys, I just wanted to share that with you guys about the Snyder Cut. Now, so we have certain things that can progress forward. Damien Anton Vincent, man, shout out to you, man. It was good to see you on Twitter. Uh, and I'm glad you got your stuff off. Can you just there you go. Okay, fine. Great. Great, 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 great. Great. You just gave me the information, Damien Anton Vincent. Um, so check TT Post on St. Vincent Street, Guardian Building, Port of Spain. $6.50 plus $4.50 for tracking. Express mail is over $200. Okay, forget that. No express mail. I think it's 2 to 3 days, isn't it? Yeah, I think I just go regular mail. So the posted is $6.50. Okay, cool. And $4.50 for tracking. Cool. I'll track it as well. I saw that there's a online. There's a place online as well where you could track it. So that's cool. Cool, man. Leroy Kong says good night. Hey Leroy, man, it's good to see you, bro. You know what we need to do though? We need to do hangouts where other people join the hangout. Actually, we could still do that if I give a link to you guys right now. You guys could join the hangout. If you want to join the hangout, it's all well and good as well. Go Films. Shout out to you, man. So Leroy Kong says, good night. Again, great live video. Thank you. Zack Snyder is my best director. Let's all hope we get the Snyder Cut soon. Yes, sir. Leroy Kong says, Walter Hamada is not listening to the true DC fans. He's catering to the social justice warriors and dirty-minded people. Bad, bad move. Well, it's still early in the game, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you saw this, Leroy Kong. If you're on Twitter, please support my next poll, which is coming out on Wednesday. I'll need you to not only support it and pin it on the top of your Twitter if you have Twitter, but also to be able to encourage other people to vote on your poll. Leroy Kong says, bad move for Walter, that is. Leroy Kong says, good luck with your letter. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be getting it out there as soon as is humanly possible, which will be tomorrow. But I probably do it around 10. I'll have to get down there very early. So I have a conversation I have to have with somebody in Phoenix, Arizona tomorrow. It's very important. Damien Antivisit says, Anson, right, thanks. Thanks a lot, Damien. So it's about $6.50 plus $4.50 for tracking. Cool. So I should get a $5 stamp and a $1.50 stamp or something like that. Something I'll mix like that. So I'll try and get those. I'll be going to the Tuna Puna office instead of the St. Vincent as Port of Spain. You probably were in Port of Spain, so that's why you got it done. It's not that far anyway. Port of Spain is not that far. Everywhere is pretty close in this country. It's a small country. Go Films. Hey, dude. Hey, Go Films. Shout out to you, man. So what I was saying to you guys is that the moves that we need to do now and really coordinate, really get ourselves organized. The moves are as follows. We're looking at this campaign. We're pushing this. It's almost done. We only have one more leg of this campaign to do. And then we have the polls. Those are great, as well as the petition. So those are three things we have in hand. I see some other people putting up polls about BVS and stuff. They're just checking the pulse on things. The key is the more we do polls, the more people poll, is the more people become aware of the Snyder Cut movement and with the polling. But there's probably other ways to get people involved. I know Jay Oliver, he's really involved in the movement. I've seen him making comments on posts where I'm present and I'm also corresponding and talking with. So I know he's with us for this. What's amazing to me though is seeing people try to discredit Jay and what Jay is doing. I just find it so weird. How could you try to discredit somebody who's actually been involved in making the movie? I just don't get that. That's the part I just don't get. All right, let me see here. Okay, I got some other things to showcase for you guys. So we're gonna go back into screen share for a minute. And I'm gonna share with you guys some interesting stuff I probably didn't share with you guys before. All right, so hold on a second. Let me show you guys this. So I'm going to start off, like I said before, what I like about Warner Brothers and the DCEU is that it doesn't focus on hero worship. It's not really focusing on personalities and people so much as it's focusing on qualities and virtues, okay, which the heroes and other people also embody. So, like, for instance, Man of Steel was focusing on hope. Hope was really the thing that was being highlighted throughout the entire movie, right? And if you look here, okay, blow this up a little bit more. There you go. So for instance, I took the Warner Brothers logo for each film. So for instance, in Man of Steel, the focus is on hope. Literally, I'm doing excerpts from the movie. So this is Jarrell here. He says, give me control of the Codex. I will ensure the survival of our race. There's still hope. I've held that hope in my hands. And Jarrell here, he's talking about the embodiment of hope, which would be his son, Kal-El. But hope here is even further defined when Jarrell speaks to Kal-El. He says, people of Earth are different from us. This is true. Here's the symbol of hope. But ultimately, that's a good thing. They won't necessarily make the same mistakes we did. Not if you guide them, Cal. Not if you give them hope. That's what this symbol means. The symbol of the House of El means hope. Hope is the potential of every person to be a force for good. So I remember this wonderful channel, Heroes, what is it called? Heroes something, where it's a movement to effect change in communities. I forgot the name of the guy also who talked about it. He always said hope is positive possibilities. And that's really a nice, very clear way of describing it. And to me, that's what this story of Man of Steel was all about. It was about a dying world giving birth through, one of the children of it. It gave birth to hope. The reason being, this son of that world, the son of Krypton, was able to live on. And not only live on, but he was able to live on our planet Earth and give us hope that we didn't have to have the end that Krypton had. Not only that, but he was able to merge between both worlds. He would be a child and a product of Earth, and he would also be a child and product of Krypton. And the beauty of that is that he can be able to represent the best of both worlds and inspire other people. So while the story is about Kal-El's journey on Earth, it was also more about hope. Hope was the thing that was constantly being spoken about in Man of Steel. Kal-El continually had to overcome. He was continually faced with certain challenges. Challenges of helping people. Challenges of learning how to deal with his abilities and powers. It wasn't all gravy and wonderful things. Challenge to take the weight and responsibility of the world upon him. Challenge reality to step out the shadows when he needed to. Challenge reality to stay in the shadows when he needed to. So it was a beautiful story showing how Jonathan Kent's hope for Kal-El, Jarrell's hope for Kal-El, Martha Kent's hope for Kal-El, Lara Lorvan's hope for Kal-El. We saw how that materialized. And we began to realize that as the story goes along, we realize that now Kal-El is able to pass on that hope. We see him help General Swanwick to realize that he needs to hope with Kal-El, because it was about hoping. We saw Lois Lane win Kal-El's confidence, and then when she presents a certain case, we hear Kal-El speaking about, well, that's not going to keep me from trying, because I'm going to hope that we're going to get a positive outcome of it. You know, the story is continuously about hope, you know, and overcoming insurmountable odds with hope. And this is something Barack Obama was speaking to us as a country, as you know, the United States, the Western world, you know, the country of the United States. He was speaking to them because he was speaking to you, people of the United States, saying to you, hope is something that can overcome everything. It's a delicate thing, but it can overcome any situation if you are proactive. You have to do something. And I think this present situation and environment we're in, people are realizing they must be forced to act. They must do something. Um, and in the American political environment, which is very caustic and it's really affecting a lot of people negatively. But you have to see that that's the challenge of hope. And that's the beauty of Batman v Superman, even, where the story of hope continues on, and the major story is about Superman. It's all about Superman, and to take somebody who is hopeless like Batman, and to give him hope by the end of the movie is incredible. If you were to talk about the most important figures uh, for the DCEU, the two most important figures for the DCEU are Superman and Wonder Woman. It always ultimately comes back to the two of them. And I'll tell you why. Because Superman represents hope in the face of hopelessness. That's what Superman represents. And the fact that he begins out of a conflict, he begins out of someone wanting to destroy him, shows up hope. You see, in a dying world, hope is born. And it's just amazing talking about this, because I don't think superhero films have ever gone that deep into, what is hope and what is hope. Like Lewis Lane was saying in Justice League, the trailer thing where hope never dies. You can't know what courage is if you have not experienced fear. You cannot know what light is if you've not been in darkness. It's truly that. And so it's beautiful. You can't appreciate the light if you've been in light all the time. It's coming out of the dark, you appreciate the light. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about angels folding their wings, because they've never experienced the joy we have, because we have been under the burden of oppression and difficulty. And so when we come out of that, we really truly appreciate the light. It's like being sick and getting back well. You appreciate your health a lot more, and so much more, I want to say, on that topic. Well, it's raining where I live as well, so I'm trying to talk as quietly as possible. So like I said, Superman and Wonder Woman are probably the two most important characters of the DCEU thus far, because of how they are flushed out. Wonder Woman, the focus is on love. The Wonder Woman movie, you look at BVS, you look at Justice League, she's focused on love. That's the key virtue or characteristic that Wonder Woman represents. And it's a very important one. It's very transformative. And so if you go back and watch Wonder Woman, the featured thing in that entire movie is love. Go ahead, go back and watch Wonder Woman. Love is on display in that movie. That movie is all about love. It's not about Wonder Woman, it's about love. In fact, Wonder Woman comes secondary to love. Wonder Woman's last set of words was that no hero can overcome any human's choice. But in the end, only love can save the world. She said that, putting love on this whole other level or plateau. She literally glorified love. If I were to say this another way, it's very spiritual for me. She literally glorified God. She gave glory to God. She was secondary to God. I loved it. I loved it. And that's something in the DCEU that you will not see in any other comic book movie. Period. Zack Snyder took the emphasis off of the embodiment of the virtue and put it smack dab on the virtue. And he wrote Wonder Woman, right? So this is what I love. This is what I love about Man of Steel and Wonder Woman. And this is the foundation. It goes on in Batman v Superman. It doesn't really fully close off on Justice League. Suicide Squad basically talks about an extension of love, which is friendship, versus leverage, which has nothing to do with love. It's just you're kind of imprisoned, oppressed, and you have to do things because somebody has you under a keychain. But ultimately, if we had David Ayer's full unraveling, because if you have ever seen the wand bears, I forgot what it's called, the movie with the wand. It's a fantastic movie, and it shows how layered David Ayer can be. And I think he was going to have a much more layered movie in Suicide Squad, a much more adventure-filled movie as well. I would have loved to see it. Maybe we'll get the Ayer cut at some point in time. Maybe the fans will have to be a little bit more vocal about that. But All of the other movies in the DCU are derivatives of these two movies, and they're based on two prime virtues, love and hope. And while Batman is about justice, true justice cannot come without love or hope. It can't. And I find that just wonderful. Let's go into what Wonder Woman actually said or her mother in Wonder Woman. Just some direct quotes about love. Ares poisons men's hearts with jealousy and suspicion. He turned them one against the other, and war ravaged the earth. So the gods created us, the Amazons, to influence men's hearts with love and restore peace to the earth. And for a brief time, there was peace. Here you see, I kind of highlighted the word peace because peace is another virtue. And again, peace is not an emotion. Just like love is not just an emotion, okay? Peace has to do with rest. You understand? Love has to do with connections to all things, okay? And of course, we have this where Wonder Woman talks about Ares says they do not deserve your protection. She said it's not about deserve, it's about what you believe, and I believe in love. And in this case, Diana, she could have killed Dr. Poison, but she didn't kill her. And Dr. Poison didn't deserve to live. But once again, love is not about what you deserve. It's about, again, administering, whether it's kindness or favor or pardon or mercy. It's all about looking at the heart of a person and trying to transform them into someone who would love as well. And that's interesting because, like I said before, yesterday we talked about John 3:16, and John 3:16 kind of speaks a lot about this. For God so loved the world that he gave us his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him would not perish but have everlasting life. He loved, so he gave. We didn't deserve the son, but we got him, right? And by doing so, we got transformed. And some of us love and some of us will never love, but God has given, so whoever believes can move forward and receive the Son. So it's basically this biblical and somewhat to a certain extent, again, beyond biblical to some degree, before biblical, if you want to call it that, because before there was the written books, there was oral tradition. Okay, that's another story for another day. But I just wanted to share this with you guys. Now, there's some other stuff I want to share with you, so let me see if I can get through with that real quick. So I found that this I Love Zack Snyder is so beautiful because it follows in the tradition of what the movies are about. It's about loving. It's not about hating. It's about being hopeful. It's not about being somebody who doubts and tries to destroy other people who love things or are hopeful. So the next thing I want to discuss is Batman. Now, Batman in Batman v Superman, he embodied vengeance. He was mostly a vengeful person. He was revengeful against Superman. Even when he was saving Martha, he was like this angel of death. He was like the angel of vengeance, right? Avenging agent. That's Batman. Batman's interesting because Batman doesn't really holistically embody any particular positive or good virtue. Superman is, like we said, deep down. He seeks to inspire. He's hopeful. Wonder Woman, she seeks to fill people with love, have people love and care. Batman's a bit of a horrible person. He's kind of like a New Yorker or someone who will break rules, doesn't care. He's kind of like a Robin Hood. He's kind of like a Zorro. And he's kind of like the person who tries to get those people who cannot be touched by the law. They seem to be above the law. They seem to be oppressing other people. Batman is that guy that if he's hunting them down, he's going to get them for you. He's really kind of half devilish, kind of half good. He's not really a people's person, but yet he loves people. So it's kind of a weird. he's really an odd character in the DCEU. He's more known for his logical, analytical skills and the fact that he is pretty brutal against criminals and he gets them intimidated. He uses fear tactics to scare them. He reminds me of police, to be honest with you. Anyways, in Batman v Superman, Batman behaves as an avenging angel. He's a broken character. Superman is not really a broken character. Wonder Woman is not a broken character, but Batman is. He's broken, okay? He suffered an immense tragedy when he was young, and he saw his parents murdered in front of his eyes. So he's a broken character, and he tries in his own way to administer justice and see people who seem to be able to escape the law, etc., be brought to justice, right? Morally, he's ambiguous. He does a lot of questionable things. He definitely doesn't have that solid moral compass that people say he has. Batman is willing to break and enter. He's willing to steal things. He's willing to use another bad guy against another bad guy as leverage. He will leverage people like Amanda Waller. So he's not trying to do things by the book per se. He's kind of mean. He's kind of dirty. He's got a mean streak in him. He'll break people's arms. He doesn't, criminals. He sees the worst in people. So Batman looks for the worst possible possibility. And, that's Batman. However, when he interfaced with Superman in BVS, and we saw the worst of him in BVS, because he was south of the border of morality. He had blown past ethical values, and he was just on a tear. He was looking to commit murder, by the way, premeditated murder of Superman. And Superman kind of wheeled him back to what his whole purpose was. So Batman is a very dark figure. When you think about the psychology of Batman, it's scary, but yet it's very real. And that's why I don't really highlight Batman as a principle. Superman, Wonder Woman, they're principles. Batman's not really that kind of person. He will get dirty and mean with you. He has certain limits he won't go by, but he barring killing you, he pretty much will do whatever it takes to scare you. So he's kind of like that kind of dude. As a result of that, I wanted to show you this last little clip here, which I find very interesting. So Batman just doesn't want people not to do anything, but this one here, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Batman's Vengeance, Retribution. Now, why I call it Batman's Vengeance, Retribution is because Martha's involved in this. Martha's involved in this. And I thought that there was a certain line in the movie that was just very enlightening, and I just want to share it with you guys. I only shared it on Twitter. I don't think I shared it on Facebook yet. I don't know if I'll do it. I may not. It's raining again. I gotta drink some more water. My body's vibrating. Okay, so there's a situation where Batman, he breaks into the warehouse where KG Beast is holding Martha Kent, Superman's mom, and he has this flamethrower to light her fire. As Lex Luthor said, what is the punishment for the mother of a flying demon? Death by fire, right? So KG Beast, who incidentally, KG Beast, the initials of KG Beast is the KGB, which is very interesting to me. And I totally denies that. He says to Batman, as Batman bursts through the wall and he grabs the gun, points it at KG Beast. KG Beast says, he's threatening him now. Drop it. I said, drop it. I'll kill her. Believe me, I'll do it. Now, when he says that, that actually comes straight out of the lines, almost verbatim, from The Dark Knight Returns, which is Frank Miller's book. The guy was holding a little kid in that case, had the gun to the child's head, and he said, I'll kill him. Believe me, I'll do it, right? Now, what's interesting is this scene is really it's in Batman's eyes, it's like a flashback to when Joe Chill, or the criminal in the alleyway, shoots his father and shoots, more importantly, his mother. He shot Martha. Young Bruce Wayne saw Martha Wayne get shot by the bandit at point blank range. Okay? And he's remembering because, remember, he promised Superman or Clark that Martha won't die tonight. What did what did Superman say to him in the Martha scene that everybody mocks, right? He said, "You're letting him kill Martha. Find him, save Martha." And what happened to Bruce? He went right back to the moment when Joe Chill tried to shoot Martha Kent. I'm sorry, there's just a tremendous amount of rain in the background right now, making a lot of noise. I'm sorry, I apologize for that in the video. Just suddenly came out of nowhere. We're in the rainy season, so that'll happen. But anyway, that's a flashback he had when Superman said, "You're letting him kill Martha. Find him, save Martha." So now pay attention. Bruce finds him. Okay? He finds him. And what is he doing? He's about to kill Martha. And he says, "Drop it." I said, "Drop it. I'll kill her. Believe me, I'll do it." And Bruce has seen him do it, right? He's seen a guy like him kill Martha before. So what does Bruce Wayne or Batman say? He says, "I believe you." And that was verbatim again what was said in The Dark Knight Returns, but it gives such depth to it. Because now Bruce Wayne is saying, "I believe you," because he's seen it before. He's seen Martha die before. And he's executed what Clark asked him to do. After he found out that Clark's mother, Martha Kent, was about to get killed, he had made it. He found him. Now he just has to save Martha. Right? Follow me now. Because what you're seeing here, when he said, "I believe you," the guy who's saying "I believe you" in that close-up, that's not Batman saying that. That is Bruce Wayne. That's not just Bruce Wayne. That's the young Bruce Wayne who said, "I believe you." That's the depth to which Zack Snyder went. Literally, he's focused on this guy because he is not Batman here. When he says, "I believe you," he's not Batman. This is not Batman speaking. This is Bruce Wayne speaking. This is young Bruce Wayne speaking. Get it? When he said, "I'll make you a promise, Martha won't die tonight." Oh, suki now. Suki now. That person who said, "I make you a promise, Martha won't die tonight," wasn't Batman. That was Bruce Wayne. I want you guys to think about that. See, this is the beauty of this is why I love Batman v Superman, because there's just so many layers to it. It's not just a superficial comic book movie, you know? And so, whereas in The Dark Knight Returns, when he said, "I believe you," the context, I think, for him shooting, it was more of a "I believe you," and then he shoots him, right? Kills him. This one's a little bit different. He literally believes the criminal because he's been in a situation like this one. The only difference is he was not armed, he didn't have a gun, he was not able to fight back. Okay, and in the end, what does he do? He shoots the flamethrower's gas compartment instead of shooting the guy, and in so doing, because he's at a weird angle too. If you look at the angle here, look at the angle. He's at an odd angle. You could shoot him on the body, but that doesn't mean it'll stop him from shooting this limit. So he shoots the gas compartment, and when this guy opens the flamethrower, gas will compile and blow up everything. And so he dives over and saves Martha. Right? So this is his vengeance and retribution. He gets to kill Joe Chill, the guy who killed his mother, and in the same breath, he gets to save his mother. There's two things he did in one blow. He's like the avenging angel. He left almost nobody surviving. that thing, because the whole place blew up, kind of like, you know. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that, because the thing about Batman, those people who say Batman's not the most virtuous character, they're absolutely correct. He's not the most virtuous character of all the Justice League members. He wasn't meant to be. He's analytical though, so he's important. But he does break rules. He does lie, cheat, steal. You know, he may kill every now and then. You know, he's he's got dirt on him. Let's just put it that way. He'll do whatever it takes to get the almost the results. But he does have, he's generally going against. It's kind of like the equalizer. He's generally going against hardened criminals or bad people who can't be touched. All right, that's the thing about Batman. So he's kind of dirty like them, and he's trying to get down. And some of them he can't destroy. He just can't get them. Can't put them down, or puts them in prison. They still come back around. So that's my video in a nutshell. Let me just go like this. And I like talking about these movies because I believe that these movies have virtue in them, and it's nice to talk about the virtue in these movies. That's why I like talking about them to you guys. So you can see the Martha scene is a lot more than meets the eye. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat section before I go to sleep. I tell you guys peace, all right? Go Film says, J. Oliver, that's cool. Yeah, there's more to it. Go Film says, good point. J. Oliver. Go Film says, that's why Zack Snyder is such a good director. Oh, man, the subtlety, man. The subtlety, and Chris Terrio did some great writing. DCEU's writing is beautiful. Oh, yeah. Damien Anton Vincent says, exactly. Oli JL, hey, man, what's up? I think you made enough videos about this. Oli JL says, talking the same thing. Not really. Goku says, no, he's not. Well, dude, that's why I love Batman so much. Well, yeah, Batman's interesting. That's all I'll say about that. Damien Anton Vincent says, Holy Jail, the thing is that these movies are so layered, Ash is able to do several of these videos and dissect it in many ways. Exactly. And that's the thing. I don't know how many of you guys ever you've read comic books of the 90s and the 2000s and the 80s and maybe some 70s comic books as well. If you've read comic books like Watchmen, etc., or you've watched even there was some animated DC animated depictions of Watchmen and so on. They're beautiful because there are certain questions that are brought up in these films that I find really wonderful, and that's why I can discuss a lot about them. Both films says I cringe when people make fun of the Martha scene. Sorry for being harsh with this, but they're probably just Marvel fans who can't see the deep meaning in it. Well, I mean, I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it, Go Films. I don't get how they could make fun of the Martha scene. It's still beyond me. I don't see anything funny about it. And I think recently somebody made on YouTube a video on the significance of the Martha scene, and they were talking a lot more about it, and I thought it was great because once again, I think a lot of people don't even understand the Martha scene. Like, the joke on the Martha scene is the dumbest joke I've ever heard. It's not a joke. It's filled with errors. Let me see if I can help people understand what I'm saying. So the Martha scene was not about whether their mothers had the same name. Okay, the reason that is not important is because while the name Martha was mentioned, and even while Batman said, "Why did you say that name?" it wasn't Martha that was so much important to Batman. It was what Superman said to Batman. Superman basically said that to Batman that you would be responsible for killing Martha. And that's what got Batman's attention. Because he's always been focused on the death of his mother in this depiction. In the DCEU, the death of his mother supersedes the death of his father, even though you see pictures of Thomas Wayne in the background of his businesses and his home, etc. His mother is the one he usually goes to visit in the grave. The nightmare he got was about his mother's grave opening up and this big guy coming out of it. So his mother was very important. When Superman said what he said about his own mother, it inevitably affected Batman's psyche, which was he had what we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from the death of his mother, particularly. And so Superman literally depicted that scene in the alleyway to Batman. That's what sent him going backwards into time. It was because he depicted that alleyway scene. But now it's telling Batman that he's going to create that alleyway scene once again. So he said to him, the first thing he said is, you're letting him kill Martha. Find him saying Martha. People talk about how Superman was, Batman was stopped because Superman was looking out for somebody else other than himself. No, that's not what got Batman's attention. What got Batman's attention and why he kept on repeating, why did you say that name, is because Superman described in detail what had happened to Batman in the past, and I was telling Batman that it's going to happen again. It will be his fault this time. That's what got Batman's attention. Batman didn't have enough. He wasn't thinking that far ahead, or he couldn't process that far ahead to see that Superman was being selfless. That had nothing to do with it. It was just like straight out of the cloud blue sky. Superman said certain words to Batman, which got his attention. And the only reason Batman actually got Batman's attention is because Batman was about to deal the final blow, and he was waiting for Superman to say the final words. This typical Batman style, right? He was waiting for his victim to say something. And so the victim said something that came out of left field that brought him straight back to the alleyway scene. And he was telling him that it was going to happen again. History repeats itself. It's going to happen again, and it'll be his fault this time. And that's what froze him up. It was like, what the hell? Why are you saying? Why are you calling my mother's name? Why are you calling my mother's name? This is basically what he was saying. He didn't say that. He said, why did you say that name? You know, a lot of people are saying, well, why didn't Superman say my mother? Superman got time to say mother. In fact, he was going to say Martha Kent, as everybody realized. He said, he was trying to say Kent, right? So he was really trying to say, and he'd been trying to say that from the beginning. He was saying Lex. He's trying to tell Batman from the very moment he touched down that Lex Luthor, and Batman didn't want to hear him, right? And Superman was trying to explain to him that you don't understand, dude. You don't understand what's going on. I could kill you in a heartbeat. You don't understand. Let me explain it to you. And Batman didn't want to hear nothing. He was like, I understand. Right? And he starts his diatribe after he beats up Superman, And the point behind it is that if Superman just said Martha, it wouldn't mean anything. It was because Superman accused Batman of allowing Martha to die at the hands of him. That got Batman's attention. And then Superman afterwards gave him the solution. Find him, save Martha. That's what got Batman. And Batman was like lost. He was like, well, Bruce at least. Bruce was lost up in there. He was like, what the hell? Why is you? He couldn't get past Martha, of course. He was like, you accusing me? What are you doing? Are you accusing me? He couldn't get past that. And then when Lois Lane got in there and she said, and he was like, why did you say that name? Martha, why did you say that? And Lois Lane heard that. She came in and said, well, it's his mother's name. And Batman was like, because he was lost. He was like, why are you talking about my mother? See, Batman was like, why are you talking about my mother? Why are you accusing me of trying to kill my mother? What the hell's going on here? Right? And then he found out it was his mother's name. Batman realized this was his chance for redemption. So that's where that goes. So the Martha joke is like, I don't know, man. I don't understand how people, they're saying it was clumsily executed, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I ask you to do me a favor. You go, just very simple. You go, if you have a chair in your room somewhere, lie down on the ground, put the heel of the chair on your throat. Maybe you can take a book or something. Put book, something flat like a book or a CD or maybe a DVD or something. Put it on your chin here, the Adam's apple, and then put the chair down on it, and then try and talk and see if it doesn't sound something like what Henry Cavill did. I'm just telling you, you're gonna realize it's awkward. It feels terrible. So I mean, uh, Damon Anton Vincent says, Anson, you actually made a connection with Wayne's death and KG Beast in the warehouse. Sheer genius. That's Zack Snyder, man. He's brilliant. Yep, beautiful writing, says Gold Films. Barry Allen says, thank you so much, man. Me? You're doing the Lord's work, Barry Allen said. Oh, yeah, man. You know what's beautiful about, which Lord are you talking about? Not Zack Snyder now. Okay. But yeah, I try to do the Lord's work. You know, I try to share with people qualities. I believe that's the more important thing that Zack was trying to push. In fact, if you look at most of Zack's movies, he's trying to share with you guys attributes and qualities and virtues. Very nice guy. Damien Anton says, I was feeling sleepy, but with that reference, I can't sleep. Do go and check it out. Go and check out the movies like Wonder Woman. Check out Man of Steel. You'll see how it's about hope. It's about love. It's about faith. You know. DJ Lawson Found says, darn, I joined too late. We'll have to watch the replay. No problem, bro. No problem. Barry Allen says, amen to that. This is such a rare gem among comic book films. Keep it up. Man of Steel and BVS are brilliant masterpieces. Yeah, man, for sure. BVS especially is themes over plot and the structure. 5-act revenge tragedy rather than 3-act hero's journey. It's another thing that threw people off. Right, exactly. Yeah, because I think a lot of people got thrown off by Batman. And Batman was seeking revenge. I think that's what threw off everybody. They loved the Batman. They liked how he was moving. They saw he was like Batman. This is Batman. But I think a lot of people thought, this Batman is doing things Batman doesn't usually do. Which they're right about to some degree. I mean, unless you're looking at Death in the Family, you're looking at Batman, Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder, etc., 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 right? But this Batman's, you know, I mean, a lot of Batman movies, Batman is violent and he's breaking bones, and there's a lot of Batman. The animated series at it. I mean, but to see Batman looking to kill someone was kind of scary, right? He had his reasons. Don't get me wrong. It's just wasn't hope-filled reasons. They were more based on fear, right? Based on fear, hate, revenge. So we have not seen that version of Batman on the big screen ever. So, and then a lot of people were kind of shocked that that Batman was being seemingly manipulated by Lex Luthor. But a lot of people don't understand is no one had seen Lex Luthor as this diabolical. We as the viewers knew that Lex Luthor was this diabolical person going in. But we didn't know what to expect when we saw the movie. And I think a lot of people underestimated Lex Luthor until the bomb exploded. And even the people who speak negatively about him, they know the genius that was going on. And people said, you know, he did a lot of things in the background. No. And another thing I think that a lot of people missed, what I truly enjoyed about this film, especially the Ultimate Cut, was that Louis Lane showed us the brilliance of Lex Luthor. It was Louis Lane that was unraveling the plot. It was Senator Finch that was unraveling the plot in another place. It was the witness that was unraveling the plot in another place, you know. And so we got these different angles of Lex Luthor himself and what he was actually doing. And even, you know, the theme of cutting the Gordian knot. If you guys haven't seen that theme that echoes over and over, it's on YouTube. It's a YouTube video speaking of cutting the Gordian knot, how Lex Luthor would continuously, time and time again, when there was this unsolvable problem, he would just cut all the way through it with force. And even Batman kind of doing the same thing. I'll give you an example. So when everything was coming to a head, And Senator Finch, she was she figured out Lex Luthor was manipulating the tribunal to get at Superman. When Louis Lane started figuring out what was going on with Lex Luthor. What does Lex Luthor do? When Senator Finch is coming down on him, Superman's about to show that he's a good person to the tribunal. He blows up everything, right? He blows up everything, kills a bunch of people. So he would cut with a Gordian knot when the problem was getting unsolvable, right? So he used Doomsday as his blunt force sword to cut the Gordian knot, which was Superman, to make sure he died. He tried to do it with Batman. It didn't work. So at the end of the day, you can see that Lex Luthor, whenever he reached a situation he didn't know how to solve, he would just use blunt force to solve that problem, right? Barry Allen says, brilliant, Doc. I can't believe more people get it. Snyder, Terrio, and Goya got to the core of the characters and gave them the most respectful live-action depiction. And the only reason Barry Allen, they were able to get to the core of the characters is because the values themselves, the virtues themselves, are bigger than the characters. Even when we look at that scene on Day of the Dead, let's talk about the Day of the Dead scene, when all the people congregate around Superman after he's given the child back to her mother from the burning building. They all are clamoring at him. What does Superman do? He turns away from them and looks upwards towards the light in that shot, showing that Superman aspires to something greater than himself. When you have characters that aspire to ideals greater than themselves, obviously the movie gets deeper. And it mirrors what we as people, we strive towards ideals. We race towards the mark, said Paul in the gospel. So the ideal is the ultimate thing that needs to be worshipped, and not Superman. That's why Vishnu, what's his name? Vishnu something. He said in the television broadcast when they were debating, he said, maybe this guy is not a Jesus figure or some devil. Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing. And again, what's beautiful about that is Zack, for the first time, shows Superman as just a guy trying to do the right thing. It's the right thing that's awesome. It's the right thing that's so powerful and potent. And it's the right thing that makes this guy seem so great. And what Zack Snyder did with, some people call it deconstruction of heroes or whatever, is he was able to give much more meaning to Superman, but not in the context of limiting him to Clark Kent. That he's saying Superman is an ideal we want to strive to, that each and every one of us can be. Pretty much the same thing that mirrors Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman, where Patty Jenkins says, only love can, Wonder Woman says, only love can truly save the world. So what she's saying is this ideal is what will save the world. And it's mirrored in us, each and every one of us, if we allow it to. So I think that's what makes these movies so powerful to me. And why I'm only scratching the surface. I mean, there's a lot of research that went into these movies, but my point is they're masterpieces because they capture something that's invisible, something that goes beyond flesh and blood. In fact, in the movie, Batman v Superman, literally, Wallace Keefe, or Wally, he says, this is flesh and blood. Remember that? When Mysterio was, he says, this is flesh and blood. He's brought a war to us here. Flesh and blood being humans. And I find that interesting. And that's why I keep on telling you that Zack Snyder's talking, or at least I think, whether he's conscious of it or not, he's talking about transcendency above humanity. In other words, we can aspire to be human, but we can even aspire to be above human. But it's not with all the fanfare. You know, generally, if you look at most of the hero movies, except for X-Men, I think X-Men is one of the more elaborate superhero movies where the heroes don't always come out happy. You guys ever watched the television series Law and Order? Law and Order kind of captures it too, where sometimes they are able to prosecute the person they're prosecuting, but at the end, the outcome is not necessarily the one where everything ends up being fine. You know, there's all these complications after. Well, what I loved about Batman v Superman in particular was that the ending of the movie was sad. The outcome was not what we expected. And more importantly, it set a precedent saying to be heroic or to be a hero, which is really true to real life, doesn't mean that people will praise you as a hero. To do a heroic act or to be a hero sometimes calls for you to be ridiculed. And in BVS especially, for the first time in a real superhero movie, if you ask me what is the realest superhero movie I've ever seen, it's Batman v Superman. Because the world did not see Superman, all of the world at least, did not see Superman as a hero. They didn't see him as a hero. In fact, I remember a lot of commentary and a lot of people speaking about how Superman was a villain in Batman v Superman. He acted as the villain. And it's amazing to hear that. And just because he didn't smile all the time and the world wasn't always praising him. And they criticized the world there. And people went to town on it. They went ham. And it reminds me of when the prophet came to David concerning Bathsheba, and he was speaking about the guy, you know, had all these sheep, and they had this one little guy with one little lamb, and the guy with all the sheep took the lamb from the other guy and killed him, and David said, that guy who took that, he needs to be hanged today. And then the prophet looked at him and said, you are that guy. You know, we tend to be so hard on things that reflect us. And so it's amazing that the people who are talking about this movie and slandering it, they literally are doing what the people in the movie did. The movie is literally a reflection of our world. And it was interesting to hear people talk about the world was dark and everybody's so narcissistic in that world and blah. And I'm like, well, guess what? That's a mirror reflection of our world. You didn't like it, did you? And I find that very interesting. And so I really love Batman v Superman for those many reasons, that they didn't treat the characters like they were a joke. They took them seriously. They gave us values and something real to look at. And that's why I love it so much. I can't believe more people get it. Yeah. So, you know, I think it's one of the better comic book movies, and I think it kind of changes what we think about comic book movies. Damien Antivista says you're evangelizing this morning. Yeah, it's thanks, man. Thanks. Barry Allen says my review is on Letterboxd. Cool. Well, guys, I know I have to go on my bed and sleep. Oh, okay. We got more. I didn't realize that. Oh, you guys got a lot. Let's see what else we got here. Damon this says, oh, glory. Hit him in the jaw. Holy J, I heard a theory that Lex Luthor was blowing Black Man and made him hate Superman. Okay, Barry Allen. At first, he does say you're letting him kill Martyr, and then mutters Kent. Yeah, he said, he was trying to say Kent. Barry Allen says, listen closely. He coughs and says Kent. Oh, he did say Kent? I never really. Go Film says Lex was blowing Batman. Sounds wrong. Go Films. Don't worry, I removed Wally J from this conversation. DJ Lawson Foss says block this guy from the Trump. I already did. Go Film says who? Damien Activist says Wally J making me feel to go and sleep. DJ Lawson Foss says block Wally J. Yep, I did. Barry Allen says amen. They set everything up. Yeah, I know. I haven't even. Barry Allen says Batman's mask has been a false salvation, a beautiful lie. Love that. I love that. That's true. That's true. It was a cover for him trying to bring justice. You guys are going to get spooked by this, but to me, Batman's mask was like the Ku Klux Klan mask for criminals. You know, the Klan, they moved under the illusion of anonymity, right? And the Klan, originally, the Klan moved that way so that they could fight for justice. That was really originally what the Klan was about. And it got corrupted. Think of Zorro. Zorro also wore a mask, and Robin Hood also wore a mask. So they're like robbers. But the idea was to, you know, Batman has almost no mercy on criminals. You know, he's going to hunt you down. He's going to break the law if he has to, but he's going to come at you. And so that's the mass vigilante idea. It starts with Batman. Not starts with him, but you know what I mean. And so, yeah, it was a beautiful lie. It was a false salvation in this, you know, this depiction of Batman. The alter ego has become an addiction and escape from reality through which he forces the world to make sense. Absolutely. Absolutely, Barry Allen. That is 100% correct. I love what you say there, because he got addicted to the mask and he wanted to always put on the mask. You remember his debate with Alfred about that. And he really wanted to use it because he wanted that. But it became a blunt weapon. It became a blunt weapon where he would use it because he thought he had control and power over the world. That's why he says the world only makes sense when you force it to. He felt like once you put on that mask, you could intimidate people, you could scare them, and he could, you know, he could be as brutal as possible, and he got more and more brutal. And he had some measure of control. And it's interesting, if you think about the people in the Klan, if you think about Robin Hood and all these guys, the mask wasn't for anonymity, it was for power, it was for control. Zorro, you know, was more about, you know, anonymity. You know, Damien Antivis says, Anthony, you have to bring out the pacifier for those MCU man babies. I just think some people just decide to, they have a certain degree of vitriol for Batman v Superman. It wasn't the movie they were expecting, and so they have vitriol. So they looked for things, little things to try and poke at, and they decided to make a big joke out of that because nothing the MCU had, and to this day, nothing the MCU has to offer, no disrespect to the MCU, is ever going to be on that level of Batman v Superman. And these people know this. They know this. A lot of people make fun of these things, like even Oli J, who's trying to make fun of what we're talking about now. He knows that, you know, this movie and these movies are very good movies. He knows that, but he can't deal with the discourse that we're having, so he feels somewhat offended, so he starts saying very stupid things. And that's when somebody has an inferiority complex and he's trying to make fun of the conversations we're having, which are much more serious conversations. I tend to have much more serious conversations, and other people don't really want to hear something serious. They want you to be entertaining. So this is the channel. I need to be unreal. I need to entertain. So he calls my channel boring, etc. And I just don't care because this is me. And if you think I'm boring, why are you even here? You know what I mean? And I like to discuss these things, you know? So Barry Allen says, Bruce has lost touch with his original vision for Batman. Oh, yes, absolutely. He's gotten to the point of moral bankruptcy. He's lost hope, so he's more exasperated. He's lost power. He doesn't feel he's in control. He keeps on losing people, and so he's reaching the breaking point due to his inability to handle his real and perceived failures. There you go. Barry Allen, in his loss of himself, Batman no longer views criminals as human. Aha! When you start to dehumanize people, I don't care who they are, because you're filled with rage and hate, that becomes a dangerous thing, people. It becomes a dangerous thing. It means you've lost that humanity inside of you. I don't care how vicious or evil a person is, and even though they may need to have the death penalty or whatever, they need to be seen as human beings, as much as they may be ghastly evil. They're human beings. They may be malfunctioning, but they're human beings. And this is very important for us to remember. And we're seeing hate in society today, dehumanizing people and referring to them as animals. Beautiful point, Barry Allen. I'm loving everything you're saying. And he doesn't, you know, Batman doesn't really respect the rights of criminals. He breaks a lot of laws, right? And you see that with the police too. They're kind of dehumanizing people, and even they're considering people criminals, even though they have not been tried in a court of law. So a lot of things about Batman are actually scary, and some of the things we admire in Batman are not necessarily things we should admire in him. And I think Zach was able to bring that to the foreground. So, right. So he no longer it brands them as animals. Correct. Correct. Harkening back to Zorro, who inspired Bruce and also left his mark on the scene. Yep. 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 And it goes all the way back to Cain, the mark of Cain. And God put a mark on Cain. So, you know, Barry Allen, he is fallen and he knows it. Yeah. He said, what is fallen is fallen. What falls is fallen. That's the beginning, the introduction to Batman. That's what he said in DC, you know, the DCEU's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. But he does rise from the ashes. He is become redeemed. He's still kind of brutal and still killing people, but when he goes after Martha, but he's starting to kind of get back to the Batman we saw in Suicide Squad and the Batman we saw in Justice League, which was a different Batman to the Batman we saw in BBS. Now, I do think he was still going to be badass in Justice League. I think Zach had footage that showed, you know, he probably had more fight scene of Batman taking on the parademons and stuff. I still think he was going to curse at them and stuff. I just think Whedon did a much more poor job with it, you know. But that's Batman, and, you know. Thank God for Superman. Superman's the one that gave him that hope, and he actually started speaking optimistically when he said, men are still good at the end of BVS. Men are still good. We fight, we kill, we destroy. But we must work together. We have to, you know. And that's not something you hear Batman saying. Go through all the movies of Batman. You can go through all the theatrical releases of Batman. Batman's not a guy that's very optimistic about the human race. Batman definitely focuses on the worst possible scenario, and he also focuses a lot on even in the Dark Knight when he was looking at Harvey Oswald, I think it is Harvey Oswald as the Hope, and he was thinking he's gonna hang up his cape and stuff. While he was very, you know, optimistic about Harvey, at the end when bad things happened to Harvey, he was like, you know, it is what it is, you know, and he does kill Harvey in the end. And my point being, you don't really find Batman speaking in an optimistic way, like you know, convincing someone to be optimistic. You don't see that all the time with Batman. That's once in a lifetime. So it was really interesting to see him swing the pendulum in BVS. He could go from, you know, a dark place to a much more lighter place. Code Film says Zack Snyder deserves more respect, and that's a fact. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good director. Very, very good. And again, those of us in the know understand that. You're going to use Steppenwolf's line, Damian Antonison? Give it time. And Barry Allen says, Oli J, he initially left after Picture Lock because his daughter suicide, but then Johns used that to shake things up and change with Whedon. Yeah. You know, just think about it this way. And for those people who say there's no Snyder cut, if you're going into post-production and reshoots, that means your picture's almost done. All right? If you're doing reshoots, that means your picture's almost done. You have a picture there. You have a cut already. You're just doing slight post-production work, and you're doing reshoots. That was what was reported. It was just Whedon was supposed to come on board and just do a few reshoots and some post-production work. That was it. It ended up being something else, right? Darren Antovisit says Jeff Johns. He makes me sick. I hear you, bro. And he's a very talented comic book writer, and he does have his material that we can correspond and collaborate with. And he has put his input into various movies in the DCEU, so he is necessary. Don't get me wrong. But I think he's messing up some stuff, man. He's messing up some stuff in the DCU. That's what he's doing. But time will truly tell. Barry Allen says, check out Comic Book Movie Marks and Chris Wong Swanson on YouTube for Snyder Cut info. Yeah, I know about Chris Wong Swanson. I actually contacted him on Twitter to help me with the poll when it comes out. Um, Fiora Zhang, she's already going to help me with the poll, so that's great. She's very supportive of everything I do, and I'm very appreciative of it. And then we have some other people who are supportive of the poll, so we'll see how it goes. Damien, this is Vincent. Okay. Jabril Ramsey says, "Hey, bud. Hey, man, Jabril." Damien Anton Vincent says, "Well done." Jabril Ramsey says, "With Bruce, his mask, his armor is a demon personified doing the Lord's work, so to speak, of serving justice to sinners, and the good word is his fist." Right. That's, I think you're quoting from a comic. I do believe you're talking about there. Yeah. It's basically he's an avenging angel. He's an avenging angel. That's what he is. Yeah. Let's see. So what else we got here? Cold Film says, "Glad you blocked Oli JL. Just annoys me when these type of people turn it into a joke." Yeah. You know, we try to be serious up in this channel. You can laugh, you can have fun, but, you know, some things are just out of order. Cold Film says, "Superman was trying to inspire hope, and he did that to Batman in the Martha scene. He brought hope to Batman and brought him to his retribution." Absolutely. You know, and that's the point. Superman inadvertently, he didn't intentionally try to. He was just trying to tell him what was up. But he inadvertently helped Batman without ever knowing. I don't think Superman's aware of what he did for Batman up to this point. I don't think Batman ever got to tell him. So that's very interesting. Damien Activist says the only thing was missing was the Junkie XL score for Justice League. What are you talking about? Jabril Rams. Oh, yeah. In terms of complete, yeah. I got you now. Yeah. It's reported that, you know, the Junkie hadn't worked on, you know, hadn't given a score yet. He was probably working on one, but he hadn't given a score yet. Even though he did work with Gary Clark Jr. On the song "Come Together," which is going to be a big song in the movie itself. So, and we heard it at the end of the movie and stuff. So, you know, he did work with Gary Clark Jr. there. That's the only thing I think I know he did. Yeah. Jabril Ramsey says, "Jeff is not necessary. He's a snake and a threat and needs to get the F away from DC for good. He's a disgusting human being." No, he's necessary. His comics, if you look at a lot of the movies are based off of his comics, and the take is based off of his comics. So no, he's absolutely necessary for the DCU moving forward. But here's the thing. I don't think he should be in a position where he's, you know, re-editing other directors' films and causing other directors to dial down their films and dilute down their films. And I think he's getting a lot of say with the executives, as when he was an executive, at least. I don't know what's happening now, because he's now just in a writing role and an executive producer. That's about it, I think. But I think that, you know, I think he had a lot of say on what happened with Justice League, and that's what made Justice League get messed up, you know. I think they were listening to him. And I don't think he's the best at really, you know, pushing movies in the direction he wants to go in. He just doesn't have a good track record. Doesn't. You know. So that's why I said he's not best suited for that. It's not, you know, and even if he was sabotaging Zack Snyder, like I was saying before with the narrative, I just don't think that's a good thing, you know. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know if he really was, you know, it's kind of a rumor, but it just looks. Damien Antivisit says Jeff Johns and Kevin Feige are good friends. Yeah, again, nothing's really wrong with that. Again, they can be good friends. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when Jeff Johns is trying to take what Kevin Feige has done and put it to the DCU. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. He's tried it a number of times. It doesn't work. DJ Lawson Found says, Addison, have you heard that Batman is an atheist in the comics now? Would make a great video. Interesting. Which comic is that? I didn't know that. That's interesting. You know, it's interesting. Somebody just gave a take on him being the avenging angel of God. It's interesting that he's an atheist now. That's interesting. That's all I can say about that. Um, Barry Allen says Bruce had stopped trusting the partnership with Robin was over, and he lies to Alfred and doesn't even trust himself. There you go. He did keep information from Alfred. He did lie to him about the dirty bond. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. Oh, Jabril Razi says at DC never confirmed that it's just. Oh yeah. It's just clickbait. So he's not necessarily an atheist then. Okay, cool. Barry Allen says, yet under his boots, Superman saw in him someone who saves, someone who could protect his mother and chose to trust, calling out the best in Batman. Yeah, pretty much he appealed to a side of Batman, but you got to understand, Superman sort of reprimanded him. He kind of hit him with something that it just hit him straight in his heart. Now, how Superman knew to say that, that's kind of circumstantial, but um, those words just cut Batman. Batman was like, what? He was like, whoa, what? That was a what moment. You know what I mean? And some people were saying the fight just ends just like that. Because a lot of people wanted Batman to kill Superman. Literally wanted him to finish him off. So Bruce is shown grace and forgiven by the man he was about to kill. And more than that, Superman trusts him with saving his mother. Yeah. And that trust, and I think that's what made Batman say he was a good person and he's more human than I am. The fact that, remember, Superman asked him to find the guy and save his mother. Then when he pulled up Superman, he was like, look, man, you see that thing going down? When Lois Lane told about the lightning and stuff around the ship, he was like, you better go handle that. Lex Luthor's doing something in that ship. You need to go handle that. And he was like, no, my mother needs me. And he was like, wait, look, man, look, I'll make you a promise, bro. Your mother's not going to die tonight. I think he said Martha's not. He didn't even say your mother. He said Martha's not going to die tonight. If only Clark understood what Bruce was saying. Did you see Bruce's face? Man. You ever seen somebody, like they're making this oath onto death, like they're about to, like they ready to go to the end where they die. That's the look that Bruce gave Clark, and he clenched his teeth. He was like, Martha's not going to die tonight. I was like, damn. Whoever's in the way, they about to get it. Anyway, it was intense. Barry Allen says Bruce recognized Superman is needed elsewhere, and he asked Superman to trust him, making him a promise, something he previously said were useless. Yeah. Wow. That's deep. That's deep, bro. That's deep. Yeah. He said, we know what promises are worth. Well, there he goes contradicting himself. Dude literally said, I'll make you a promise. God, trust me. If Batman make you a promise, you got to kill Batman to get that thing, Even though he made promises in other movies, I remember he promised, what's her name? I forgot what her name was. He made her a promise. And instead he saved Harvey Dent instead of her, stuff like that. Damon Antibusiness says, Johns needs to go to Marvel. Nah, man, he's cool. He's a DC writer. Let him stay at DC, but don't give him creative control over things like that. That's what I mean. How do I explain it? He can write the comics or write the comic book movies, script. But somebody else need to be working with him. And I think somebody else is working with him on Wonder Woman. And I think Jeff Johns is a fantastic writer. I just think he tries to push towards certain kinds of movies that people don't always get. The oomph is not there. It works for Marvel because Marvel started their universe that way with jokes and stuff like that and a simple story. Jeff Johns right? Sometimes complicated comics and sometimes good comics. But just because he comes from a certain perspective about comic book characters, kind of shortchanges him. So when he comes out with the movies, he's always after an icon instead of after the virtues. Zach did it, he flipped it on its head and he said, no, this is about the virtues, you know. And so when you do a Zack Snyder movie or Zack's involved in story writing or something, it's much deeper. It's much more solid. You can play with it a lot more. Jibril Ramsey says, agreed, Vincent. I mean, I understand what you guys are saying, but he is an absolute resource from his comic books. I think he should advise, the directors on how to do movies. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure he should be like so deeply into the comic book movie making process. That's just my opinion. We'll see. Barry Allen says, Bruce can now trust in the value of promises again. Bruce had disconnected from and taken Alfred for granted. Yeah, he actually even said that. He said, I don't deserve you, Alfred. That's true. Barry Allen, but after his encounter with Superman, he admits his fault and encourages his surrogate father. I don't deserve it. There you go. Yeah. He really changed after his encounter with Superman, for sure. Zack Snyder redeemed Batman. Yep, he did. Jibril Ramsey said, yep, Alfred was that guiding force he needed, but Bruce dismissed it after the Martha recalled he is riding the Batplane. He says, I don't deserve you, Alfred. He doesn't have to slightly contemplate. A little confused by what you just said, but okay, after the Martha recalled riding the Batplane, he says, I don't deserve you, Alfred. He doesn't after. Yeah. Yep. He kind of caught himself. Barry Allen. Amen, Damien. Snyder depicted Batman's damaged psychology by taking the character below to his darkest place so he can confront his trauma to heal from it. A very realistic depiction of psychology. You have to go there to realize you're not all that, because he was very self-righteous. He was defending himself, and he thought what he was doing was the right thing, which is the epitome of being lost. When you can't open your mindset to, and he's a very focused individual. Bruce Wayne is a very one-track mind kind of guy, and he's coming after criminals and stuff. So it was really a great depiction, like you said, Barry Allen. Go Films, true Barry Allen. So, guys, man, it's been great talking with you guys. It's 1:21 a.m. in the morning. It's really raining out there. I should have been in my bed. I hope I'm not disturbing my neighbors at the same time. I've been talking for quite a while to you guys, so I got to go on my bed and sleep now. But this is great. This is the kind of stuff we need to talk more about. I saw some people that on Twitter, film exiles, type in hashtags film exiles, and you'll see some wonderful discussions about BVS and so many other DCEU films, but it's really nice talking to you guys, man. I wish to talk with you guys some more, but of course it's very late in the night and I have to get up pretty early to have another discussion with somebody about something else. And then on top of that, I have to discuss with another person about something else that I'm dealing with. And then we have to, and then I got to go work tomorrow and just a ton of other things. So we're trying to get a lot of stuff done. And then I have to go and read up on some stuff, but look out for some more material from me about these films. And also, man, I want to talk with you guys some more. Barry Allen, it's great talking with you. I don't think I talked with you before on this channel. It was really educational. There are some other guys that are really interesting to talk with. William Ruffin, who's been on my channel. We've had a brother from boxing channel. I can't remember him. He's from England, but he, was born in Ireland. He's Irish. And we got a bunch of other people from all over the world. Damian Anton Vincent, he's from the same country as me, Trinidad and Tobago. Beautiful place, wonderful weather. I mean, the nicest people in the world, even though we have a pretty high crime rate right now. Most of the people will meet you, say hi, hello, wish you well. People are, they're very helpful as well in my country. We got some flaws, but we also have some very nice people. It's a very small country. I would love for all you guys to come down to Trinidad and see what it's like, but it is what it is, man. You guys are wishing me a good night. That's thanks a lot. This is the first time I was on a stream and it was a blast. Hey, great, man. I'll invite you to come back. Bring some friends as well. We have more discussion on these topics. We even joined the Hangout. I can send a link to you guys next time so more voices can be talking and I can just sit back, chill back, and just listen to you guys have your discussions and stuff. Then this is John's reminds me of when I would play marble pitch when I was a boy, and when the owner of the marbles is losing, he wants to mash up the game and start over or go home. Exactly, bro. I know what you're talking about. Barry Allen says, can't wait for the new material. Oh yeah. We got tons of new stuff, man. Tons of new stuff. There was some other things I wanted to share with you guys about some other stuff, but we'll do that some other time. Jebo Ramsey says, 99 buddy, love you, Chris. Love, don't ever lose hope, buddy. The fight continues. We're not giving up, not by a long shot. No. I mean, release the Snyder Cut's here to stay until that cut comes out. And my name's Anson Phillip. Christ I Am Disciple is just a cipher I use to I have a Facebook page called Christ I Am Disciple. It's a performing artist. It's somebody who shares scripture. I share a lot of scripture to various people all the time. I try to, hook people up with love and God and Jesus. That's my purpose. So that's why I call myself Christ I Am Disciple. And however you want to read that, it in one way, shape, or form is exactly what I am, right? Right, guys. So have a good night. Blessings to you all. It's morning where I am at. I got to go to sleep, guys. I got to go drink some water as well. I'm not 100% yet. I suffer sometimes from dehydration and some other things. So my acid reflux is going away. So that's almost great. But I got some other minor things that happen. And I have to look out for some other people in this house here who are not in the best of health either. So I hope you guys have a good one. I wish you health, prosperity, and goodwill amongst other people. And do enjoy the rest of your night. When is the next chat? It usually is the next day. I almost have a chat almost every day. And it's generally on the DCEU. I start off with a piece of scripture. The first video I ever put out for the day or stream, it's usually a piece of scripture. And then after that, I move on with the topics that I talk about. Usually it's the DCEU, and at present I'm stuck on the Snyder Cut. I can't wait to get the Snyder Cut out. I'm not really interested in anything else. I know people like Aquaman. Some people might want to talk about Aquaman, things happening there. I had some channels on Facebook that I kind of abandoned. I gave those channels over to other people. I didn't close them down, but I gave them to other people. So if you want to talk about Aquaman, if you want to talk about Shazam, if you want to talk about Wonder Woman 84, you can go across to those Facebook groups. Some of them I started, but other people have taken them over, and you can check them out, right? The Facebook groups I still own are the following: Batman lovers, Man of Steel lovers, Wonder Woman lovers, Suicide Squad lovers, and Justice League Unite. So you check out those groups on Facebook. Those are groups that I actually admin. And I talk a lot about those things now, mostly. I don't really talk about the future films yet. I'm not excited for them at this present point in time. Doesn't mean my views won't change, but I'm not excited for them at this present point in time. I looked at Predator, though. Predator looks like a good movie that's coming out. We'll see what happens with that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the cinematographer for Batman v Superman, I think he's doing the cinematography for Predator, if I'm not mistaken. That would be something Wong, I think is his name. But if you guys want to, so sometime tomorrow I'll be doing it, maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the night when I come back from work. But I got a lot of people I got to talk to tomorrow, as well as I got a lot of things to do. So if it doesn't happen in the middle of the day, probably sometime in the afternoon, right? And I got to mail my letter tomorrow as well. So I got to find time to go down to Tuna Puno, get that thing mailed off, and come back in the morning. So we'll see how that works out. I may have to go pretty early in the morning. Barry Allen says, I'm in Justice League Unite. There you go. That's my group. I'm Anson Phillip. I'm him. Yeah. Barry Allen says, wonderful. Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League Snyder Cut are what is worth talking about. Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten the Snyder Cut for Justice League yet. I'm looking forward to that because I think that will really, really give a nice full picture of Superman. And apparently Zack Snyder they were saying, there's a rumor that he had 5 movies, so there was going to be 2 others. And I don't know if Supergirl was going to be in that lineup or what. I don't know what was going to happen, but I don't even care if I don't get the 5. I just want the next, this Snyder cut right now is what I want. And that'll be good enough for me. I don't need to get 5. I just need to get this 3, you know. Barry Allen says, good to know. I'll try to catch it. All right, man. Well, guys, it's been nice talking to you guys. You can share this video with other people who are interested in seeing it. I want to say blessings and peace to you all. I just call all the names from the top to bottom. Barry Allen, Jerbil Ramsey, Damian Anton Vincent, Goat Films, Oli, JL, and DJ Lost and Found. I just want to wish you guys a good night or a good sleep if you get some sleep. And all the best, man. All the best. And Leroy Kong, how could I forget about you? Also, shout out to Dave Ethan. You always inspire me, Dave Ethan, and that's why I just had to mention your name. I want to also mention William Ruffin. There's a couple other guys. 90s, what is it? 90s 11, I think, or something like that. You're also interesting, inspiring. We also got TNJ Ayala, who's not here tonight. Probably it was just too late. Shout out to you as well, bro, as well as I got a couple other people but I just can't remember them by name right now. They also come through this stream. So, guys, man, have a good one. Have a blessed one. Don't forget to remember the poll is on Wednesday. If you got your snail mail, make sure you get your snail mail in. Better late than never. Even if the date is passed, still send in your snail mail. Snail mail is always important. To Walter Hamada. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's hope for the best for the future. And let's keep it pushing, all right? You guys have a great, great, great rest of your week. So long. Peace.